Hi guys, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Ethan.
We're here to review the new science fiction movie that no one's ever heard of, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. What the hell is this?
Little underground indie flick.
But anyways, on a serious note, guys, this is easily one of the most anticipated movies of the year, if not the most for most people. Everyone's really been looking forward to seeing where the story would progress since Force Awakens. We got Rogue One last year. Responses were generally well received.
I liked it a lot.
I think we can agree that it wasn't quite as good as The Force Awakens overall. It just didn't have that imaginative backing. Now, before we go into this, I'm going to say I really wasn't that big of a fan of The Force Awakens, at least upon my first viewing, and it grew on me a little bit over time.
You can check out our review in the description.
But I just can't really, it doesn't have a lot of rewatch value for me. I just wasn't drawn into it as much.
I actually really enjoyed The Force Awakens on the opposite spectrum of you. I thought it was really engaging, a lot of fun. It was a great way to bring people back into the Star Wars fandom. I watched it recently, and it kind of loses its magic a little bit, but I still had a lot of fun. I was still excited for The Last Jedi. And Jonathan, what did you think of The Last Jedi overall?
Well, I can say I didn't like The Force Awakens, actually, not pretty much at all when I first saw it. I mean, it had its moments. Going to The Last Jedi, coming out of it, I loved it.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson, I thought, breathed some life into the series that was missing. This Star Wars movie is the first one that I will call a piece of art sometimes in some scenes.
Well, you don't think a Phantom Menace?
Oh my god!
But piece of art? That's pod racing.
This film has some of the most beautiful shots that I've seen in a sci-fi movie in years. Some of the most inventive shots. Ethan and I we agreed that there's one shot in the film that we'll get into when we do our spoiler segment that is absolutely breathtaking, and I just thought. Space Aussie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I definitely think Rian Johnson really did do a lot of work in this movie that he didn't need to. He definitely went in a different direction rather than J.J. Abrams, and that's nice to see. It's nice to see a little new spin on it.
Right. The biggest thing I really enjoyed about this film is the unexpected directions that Rian Johnson took these characters. The emotion this time around is so much deeper, especially with Kylo Ren and Rey's relationship.
I gotta say, I've been a big fan of Kylo Ren since The Force Awakens, and I was very happy to see his progression as a character, and I'm even more excited to see where he goes now with 9 coming out soon, or hopefully soon, and I am definitely excited to see where Rey goes along with that, because they have a sort of connection somehow maybe in the movie. We'll touch on that later.
Now, if you notice, we haven't mentioned the elephant in the room. Mark Hamill is back as Luke Skywalker in full glory, and he is fantastic.
He's awesome.
I think this is, without a doubt, his best performance of the series.
It's just as satisfying as seeing Han come back, to have another classic character like Luke come back, and it really brings. He has such a great screen presence because there he is. It's Luke, and he's talking with Rey, and it really is great to see.
So the story is also very interesting. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil it. But let's just say
it's a little different than a classic adventure. It's a lot smaller scale, which you could argue is not great for Star Wars because Star Wars is so big and vast, and
don't get me wrong, just because the story is small, don't for a second think that this movie is small scale, because you do sense the
stakes are still high.
Very high.
Stakes are still high.
Okay, so now that we've covered the story, we've covered the acting here. We've had a lot of positive comments. I also want to say the action is phenomenal.
Yes, there were a lot of hype moments that I was very excited to see, where I was just jumping out of my chair.
I told Ethan
because there was some awesome stuff in this movie.
Right, I told Ethan that this honestly may have the best lightsaber fight of the entire series. Arguably, I think so, but it's definitely a contender. You can't deny that.
I definitely enjoyed that. There's this one amazing lightsaber fight. There's an awesome duel towards the end of this movie between two characters that it's so satisfying to see, especially because one is a super badass. All the action scenes are actually really, really done well, and it was awesome to see, really.
Of course. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the negative.
Because surprisingly, this is a divisive movie for fans. And
if you look at Rotten Tomatoes,
why,
I want to say right now the critic score is a 92 or a 93, and the audience score is a 55%.
I think it's just because fans are split between it's not nostalgic enough and it's too much.
And that's where we have to draw the line. If you want to progress the series forward, you really have to make changes, like The Empire Strikes Back did. And from what I hear, a lot of people didn't like The Empire Strikes Back when it first came out.
I wouldn't know. But still, this movie does make decisions that some fans
Some
would
are
like.
questionable. Now, there's one decision that they made with the film. I don't know why the hell they did it, and I think it seriously detracts from the movie as a whole.
Okay.
Even you know what I'm bringing up. There's this whole entire 25 to 30 minute subplot where Finn and this new character Rose, they go on a planet to go do some things.
To find a code breaker.
Something like that, which is a mild spoiler, so
it's not too bad, but it's this whole story element where they have to go find a code
breaker.
Anyways,
it's a complete departure from the rest of the film's tone.
And while it is of importance in that moment where they needed to progress the plot, it eventually doesn't result in anything.
Right. It basically ends up the big message of this whole entire arc is just, animal cruelty is bad. That's kind of what I got from it, which is weird.
It's kind of like people are bad and they can be bad. And it was definitely a departure from where the story was going, and I really did feel like I was missing out on story with Kylo Ren or Rey or maybe even Poe.
I think one thing they were trying to get out. Also, this story arc kind of represents where the money goes in the Star Wars universe and kind of how funding war, which was an interesting thing that they brought up.
They briefly mentioned this idea.
I think if they were to focus on that, it would have turned out a lot better.
It actually reminded me of Knights of the Old Republic with good people and bad people can still fund the same bad things, and that was a cool idea, but they just touched on it, so whatever.
Now, before we get into our spoiler segment, I just want to go ahead and give the ratings now.
Okay.
Just, in case you want to get the hell out of here and go see it, like you should have already done. I'm seeing it again today, and that's how much I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, you do.
But guys, I really didn't like The Force Awakens. I loved The Last Jedi. It definitely had some pacing issues because of this 25-minute subplot that just didn't need to be there. But whenever we weren't there, which is for the majority of the film, I was completely engaged. The story went in new directions. The action was great. The performances were great. I really enjoyed it. This was the first Star Wars film the last 10 years, in my opinion, that has stood up against J.J. Abrams' Star Trek franchise as an equal, which is why I'm going to go ahead and give The Last Jedi I'm gonna go ahead, push the envelope, and give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the hell out of this film.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really enjoyed The Last Jedi. Like I said earlier, I loved all the action sequences. That was probably my favorite part of the whole movie. There were so many hype moments that, as a fan, I really enjoyed the hell out of. Stuff with Luke, stuff with Rey. I enjoyed the stuff with Finn, Poe, all the returning characters, all the new characters that they brought in. I really enjoyed seeing their stories again. Again, there was that little parts there that kind of detracts from the story that I wasn't a huge fan of, but even then it was still enjoyable. Overall, again, I really enjoyed The Last Jedi. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was really good. I'm really excited for 9 now. Well, next up is the Han Solo
movie, and apparently the Kenobi film was officially announced.
Kenobi's working its way in there. Something's happening.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, now on to the spoiler section. Time to bring in some what the fuck moments because some weird stuff was happening.
All right. So first off, what are some spoilers we can talk about?
Woo, we can talk about number 1. Snoke is irrelevant. As we know, of now.
I already forgot
That's not
about
even the biggest thing, though, either.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up some really major points right here. As we all kind of knew, Luke Skywalker is a very broken character, and his entire story arc is pretty much one of redemption. And
it pretty much comes full circle in this movie.
Yeah. Number 1 thing, he dies at the end, so don't expect him to be in any future installments.
He takes the Han route.
Right. Snoke is dead. Kylo Ren pretty much he kind of overthrows Snoke.
I mean, that's a big thing with the Sith. They're always overthrowing their masters, and the apprentices are always
Kylo Ren is now running the show,
which is great because I love Kylo Ren.
Right, and he should have been at the forefront to begin with. In my opinion.
I mean, there had to be some master Sith behind the whole thing, but I mean, if they're getting rid of him now just to do better things with Kylo Ren, it'll be all worth it.
Also, Rey and Kylo's relationship, it was almost borderline romantic in a way.
Yeah.
There was some tension there. And I was okay with them going that way because you would actually see the characters understanding each other.
Listen, the Reylo shippers out there, they're really happy with what they've got. I thought their relationship was kind of confusing at first because I didn't know how they're communicating.
I don't
in the first place.
understand how this is going to be. It looked like they were setting up a fucking love triangle. I'm sorry, I'm going to use that word.
A love triangle.
And is it like a love octagon? Because if you think about it, it's between Kylo and Rey, Rey and Finn, Finn and Rose,
Finn and Poe.
Finn and Poe, Daddy. It just gets really crazy. Also, just, you know, we all know, I thought they were going to kill off Carrie Fisher.
I thought so too, yeah.
And
there was that whole... Why didn't she...
It faked me out when... Alright, so there's a scene in the movie where you have Snoke's ship and it's chasing down the Rebellion's main ship.
Right, their cruiser.
Right, and a missile is just sent into Carrie Fisher's bridge room. And there's this cool shot of her getting sucked into space, right? I thought she was KO.
I thought she was done, dude.
I was told like fatality. I was like, oh shit.
I thought she was done.
I was about to say, that was ballsy. That was really
cool.
And
I thought it was even ballsier when they showed her corpse in space, she's really alive.
Yeah, and then she uses the Force to pull herself
back into the ship.
And people are like, what the hell? She wasn't able to use the Force before. But if you think about it, it kind of makes sense because, you know, she's of the Skywalker bloodline. And she's had plenty of time. She's had experience to kind of...
to cultivate her Force powers.
Force abilities.
So all those things were just, I mean, there's more things, we'll get into that. But that was just crazy.
Yeah, that was nuts. Also, Porgs.
I mean, it's not Porgs aren't a spoiler.
Porgs aren't a spoiler, but were they annoying?
No.
I really love Porgs. Actually, there's this one scene with Chewbacca that I died.
Oh, and he's eating the chicken?
He's eating a porg.
Oh, he's about
to roast a porg, and he's about to take a bite of it, and its family members are all around him.
That's like...
people looking at him, they're like guilting
That's
him.
horrifying when you think about it. This monster came to eat your family, and you have to watch now.
It was really funny.
I mean, on to like actual spoilers. The scene that got the biggest reaction for me were both when the new commander that steps in for Leia, she just goes full light speed into Snoke's ship to crack it in half.
Oh, it was so badass.
And at that moment, it goes quiet, and like the silhouettes of the ships appear, and it's all contrasted.
Yeah.
And I gasped because it was so awesome.
It was a beautiful shot. Also, the lightsaber fight that I mentioned earlier was crazy. So basically, after Kylo Ren uses the Force to activate a lightsaber that chops Snoke in half.
Kind of cool. That was cool, I guess.
It was really cool. We get this awesome tag team fight between
Rey and Kylo.
Or not Rey and Kylo.
No, they're working together.
They're working together. So in other words, it's like a fanboy moment of seeing two of your favorite characters fight back to back against Snoke's. Or I don't want to say it's Imperial Guards, because they're not Imperial Guards.
I don't remember.
Anyway, Snoke's bodyguards, and they're super well trained, and it's an awesome fight where it's just them two, and it's gritty. You feel the punches when they come.
It's really satisfying. It's really satisfying to see these lightsaber fights in the new trilogy, just because I want to see more. And lightsabers are always so exciting. And I don't think there was enough in The Force Awakens.
Right.
But this definitely scratched my itch for lightsabers.
After they take out
laser swords.
Right. After they take out everyone and kind of take control they don't really take control of Snoke's ship, but they kill Snoke, kill all of his guards.
Right.
And then Kylo turns to Rey and he's like, I want you to join me. You know, no more Jedi.
I was like on the edge of my seat there.
Yeah, no more Sith.
Because like he's
die.
proposing like they go off and do their own thing. I really didn't know.
I thought she might have taken it. I was really like...
I was convinced that they were going to go the Rey evil route.
I was about to get hyped if they did that.
Yeah, like
I would have been on board with that. But
speaking of Rey stuff, they did talk about her lineage.
Yes.
Her parents very briefly.
And doesn't matter because they were sand drifters.
They were just drunks that sold her for beer money.
And that, I mean, it was sad, but that was the reality of it.
I guess, but I mean, the way they set it up in The Force Awakens.
I'm kind of glad though, because it takes the mysticism out of it.
I guess.
In a way, it kind of shows you that sometimes there really isn't all that much there.
I guess.
A big part of the character, she wanted there to be something, but she wasn't. And this kind of allows her to pave her own path. She can become the legend she wants to be, like not Skywalker, but like Skywalker did, because. You know, initially we thought his parents were like sand drifters, things, and he kind of created and built himself up from, you know, just a scavenger to a Jedi. So there's kind of some parallels there. But anyways, back to Luke Skywalker.
He has a great conversation with Force Ghost Yoda.
Oh, and it's not just trilogy Yoda. This is puppet Yoda.
This is the good Yoda.
And this is silly as shit, wisecracking Yoda.
Like, he looks like he's a Muppet.
It's so funny. Dude, I was dying.
There's a great conversation with him and Luke when they're, on the island.
And Luke's just like, you know what, down with it, I gotta burn this tree. So he, sets the tree on fire. Yoda's
he almost sets the tree on fire.
He almost sets the tree on fire, and Yoda's like, okay, bro, sends a lightning bolt.
How powerful is Force Yoda?
Right?
To control the elements.
He's burns the tree.
Force Yoda's a god.
And then Luke's like, that's just the Jedi text are in there, what the hell?
And obviously he saves the text because you see them back on the ship later on.
Yeah, but he looked, Ghost Yoda looks over at him and says, read them, have you? Page turners, they are not.
Dude, freaking roast Luke super hard.
He was just like, oh man, he's just like, you know how old people are like, you know what, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
He kind of reached that point.
Mm-hmm.
But that was
cool. Any other spoilers that we can talk?
Yeah, Luke Skywalker projecting himself over the galaxy to fight Kylo Ren.
That was awesome. I was like, I thought that was really
so
cool. The whole fight between Kylo and Luke. Whoa, dude!
It was so good.
It was a little underwhelming just because of how little fighting Luke did.
But the mind game.
It was still very satisfying to see Luke walk out of the rubble. Dust his shoulders off. That got a huge reaction from my audience. It was incredible.
Now, there's one character I want to bring up, and that's Benicio del Toro's character.
Yeah.
He wasn't really used. He was good, and
it's okay. He's in it for just a plot progression, but it doesn't really turn out to be that worth it in the end because it just betrays
why is Benicio del Toro here?
I guess. I hope they include him in the future installments.
I hope they plan that he has a bigger role.
Yeah, bigger role would be nice.
Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, he's Benicio del Toro, Darth Plagueis.
Can't wait to see that reaction video. But anyways, guys, there's not a whole lot else I really want to talk about.
We really enjoyed The Last Jedi.
It was good. Please go see it. Don't let it drop really hard in its second weekend because it has a lot of competition.
Unfortunately, it does. And this is divisive among fans. Go see it. Go decide for yourself. We really enjoyed it.
Anyways, guys, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ethan.
Have a great day.